If that intro took you back on a nice nostalgia trip, then you're our kind of people this week. And if it didn't, hopefully we can lighten you guys, and maybe someday in the future we'll talk about something that'll take you down a nice nostalgia trip. But as always, I'm one of your hosts, Rob. Join with me are my friends, Mike.
Did you know that the number of white towers you saw when that screen opened up was equivalent to the number of saved games you had on your memory card?
I did know that, but
I
did
thought
our
you were making a 9/11 joke at first. The towers. I don't know. I was getting a little nervous.
Don't get me wrong, I'm always down for a 9/11 joke, but it wasn't.
As I'm
and
pulling my collar.
that's our other co-host, Lou.
Hello. No 9/11 jokes in my repertoire.
Oh man, it's just like a whole perfect area of comedy that you're just missing out on.
Well, before we take a dive into our topic today, we just have to announce that there was some casualties this weekend in our survival pool. So, alas, some people chose the 49ers and other people chose the Baltimore Ravens. So, Charlie, Luke, and my wife Becca have all been eliminated from the survival pool because they chose teams that you would think would win, but just like the Bengals week 1, did not.
Rest in peace.
It was a crazy week for football, week 2.
But atrocious.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm still believing in the Lions, but just you hate to lose like that. But this week we're doing a deep dive into the PlayStation 2. Our intern did some research, so remember, if we hit 100,000 subscribers, we'll have a face and name reveal for the intern, and they can actually get paid, but that's in their contract. We can't do any of that until we reach 100,000 subscribers. So hit that subscribe button, leave a like. Let us know what consoles take you back on a nostalgia trip. But in case you didn't know, the PlayStation 2 was released in North America on October 26, 2000. Can you guys guess what price? What do you think the price was for the PlayStation 2 back in the day? No looking it up, Lou. Or Mike.
Yeah, Lou.
Oh, I do. I look up some things for D&D because I get confused, and then I'm the bad guy.
Well, you just look with the answer to a complete puzzle, but I know, I know you're quick on the Google. So
I want to say $299. I know for sure the PlayStation 1 was $199 because that was like famous. But
what's your answer, Lou?
I was honestly gonna go for that, so I'll do $301.
$301.
Yeah.
The opposite of Price is Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Lou, you busted. It was $299. So your initial answer was right. And that's the equivalent to $482.30. So it's still a little cheaper than, the PS5 and Xbox Series X when they came out.
Not much, though.
No, not much. So I don't know if that's better for... Yeah, I don't know if that's better for us now or was, worse back then. Depends on how you look at it. Over the course of its lifespan, it sold over 155 million consoles. And what's crazy is 1/3 of those sales came after the PS3 was released, which is just unheard of in the video game console. A third of it. Because, I don't know if you guys remember, but the PlayStation 3 came out, because PlayStation 2 was on top of the world. It's a world beater console. So PlayStation was feeling good, and they're like, we're going to try, I think it was like $500 or $600, which back then was insane for a console. So they were playing catch up a lot, and yeah, it was bad. And for that reason, I think, what was it? Yeah, the PlayStation 2 wasn't discontinued until 2013. So it had a 13-year lifespan, also crazy for a console. And it had over 4,000 game titles released on it, with over 1.5 billion copies sold.
How many games again?
4,000 games.
Wow.
So, and yeah, 1.5 billion with a B copies sold. Do you guys know, take a guess at what the best-selling PlayStation 2 game is?
Is it a sports game?
It is not.
I literally just heard this today, and I already forgot it. I know the second one is, what is it, FIFA, or Forza? Or Gran Turismo 3 is the second best.
That is true. I do have the top 5 selling games, and I kind of went through the top 100 and picked a few games that we each would like.
San Andreas, right?
Yep, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. That's 17.33 million copies.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, Gran Turismo came in 2 and 3. Vice City, GTA, which is the one I played as a kid. Sorry, Mom. Came in at 10.5 million copies. I played it at my neighbor's house. It was a fun time. We didn't actually play the storyline. We just drove around and murdered people.
That's what
Probably
that's
need
what it's good
therapy for that. Yeah, you know.
I mean, that is pretty much the storyline. So
Yeah. And then Final Fantasy X came in at number 5, which I've heard is a great game. Haven't played it. Have you guys?
Dude, I haven't played Final Fantasy 1.
I have. On the NES. I mean, it wasn't nothing to write home about, but
that's stupid. No, I have
It was stupid. You're very right. It was a
because it's just Final Fantasy, isn't it? It's not Final Fantasy.
yeah, they're not really related at all.
Yeah, and they thought like the idea of Final Fantasy is that they were gonna make one game, right?
Yeah, I think it was like they had
Oh,
one
yeah.
game left. This had to be
I'm
it.
starting to think it's not the Final Fantasy, guys.
They're 16 now, so.
I thought it was 17, so maybe it is final.
Well, there's also I think there's a Final Fantasy like 10A or something, and there's like
Right.
there's 3 Final Fantasy 13s, so it just yeah, don't do the math there. And one last thing I'll get before we kind of just have a roundtable discussion is this very interesting thing that the intern found out and told me, and I thought it was wild. But around the time it was released, there was a rumor going around that Saddam Hussein had allegedly stockpiled 4,000 PlayStation 2s and was somehow combining them to create a super computer that would have military application, which is just the most wild rumor that had no foundation in reality whatsoever. But that's just crazy to me. They're like, man, this guy, he's hot wiring PS2s together. And he's gonna blow up the world with it. It wild times. But that was later proven to be false.
Yeah, he just wanted them so he could play PS2 anywhere he went in the world. He just had them loaded all over his bases.
Had a few in each country.
Exactly.
But what was some of your guys' favorite games for the PlayStation 2?
The first one, well, it's interesting because the first thing that comes to mind is actually playing PS1 games and rocking out the backwards compatibility. So when I think PlayStation 2, I think Spyro 3. But in terms of actual PS2 games, Dynasty Warriors 4, that game was perfect for 6th grade Michael. Just slaughtering people left and right. You know, if you had less than 500 kills per battle, you were a noob.
It's so funny. Sorry.
Go for it.
Oh, it's just so funny because those kind of games, I feel like I've missed the mark on. Like I'm too old to play them. I
Mhm.
wish I could go back in time as like a middle schooler and play those games.
Yeah, they don't really hold up now. Like I've
No.
tried playing Dynasty Warriors and I'm like, I don't know why I liked this. I loved it. I spent hours and hours and hours unlocking all the characters and maxing out their stats and stuff, but
I enjoyed Hyrule Warriors for what it was, but I did play. A friend had Dynasty Warriors, so we'd play it on his PlayStation 2. It's a good turn off your mind and smash X or cross, or whatever the attack button was.
I think you said turn off your cross. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Smash X, but I
yeah,
think
no,
it's technically cross.
Technically PlayStation calls the X button cross.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're the only ones. It's X, but
Because all the other 3 are shapes, so like we can't just have 3 shapes and an X, so gotta call it a cross.
right. And like triangle, that's another weird one. Triangle used to be the action button because it looked like the play button on like a remote, which is just like bizarre. Did you guys? So there's, I've been playing Time Splitters 2 a little bit on the PS5 because the PS2 version is available on it now. It's so weird how, like, I forget that controls that it used to be standardized back in the PS2 era. So like you'd have to learn the controls for like every game. And now it's like there might be a couple things that's different from game to game, but like you can just kind of pick up a game and know how to play it without looking at like even playing the tutorial half the time.
And you can most games have like customizable controls, so even if you don't like it, you can swap it or get close to something you like.
Yeah.
Try not to do that because then my brain will forget if I did it or not, kind of thing. It's not good. It's not good for the brain.
No.
I just force myself to learn. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but if I try to switch the controls, best believe I'm gonna forget. Like in Smash, everybody like switches their controls, and my brain cannot handle it.
I'm with you.
Or
I
smash
get
stick
like,
guy.
I just freeze when that happens. I'm like, oh, what did I just do? And then just can't do it. Yeah, just learn
Yeah.
the controls for the game. I feel.
What about for like shooters? Like I like all my shooters to have my tactician. That's what it's called in COD, our tactical button layout. But shooter, same thing.
For the most part, I just learned the control set for the game, and at this point, most games are so close that,
Pretty much the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's fair.
The crosshairs though. I don't know. You guys ever like dive into a shooter? Because during COVID, I know we're getting a little far away from PlayStation 2, but during COVID, I was playing an insane amount of Modern Warfare. I remember Robert, like, you hopped on a couple times.
Yeah, I just didn't like how much the disk space it used up.
Yeah, that's fair. But the well, it's not the call of the crosshairs. What do you call it when it's like your X and Y is fast?
X and Y's.
Oh,
Yeah, oh,
the
you're talking about
stick
sensitivity.
Up and down.
Sensitivity,
The stick
yeah.
sensitivity, yes.
I was about to say sensibility.
And
Yeah, this is sensible.
Yeah.
I like the speed.
I remember playing so much of it that I'm upping the sensitivity like more and more and more. And then I stopped playing the game for like a month, and I got back on it, and I felt like a crackhead.
You're just like,
I-
whoa.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, how did I ever do this? This is insane. But your brain gets like used to it.
Yeah, for like Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops, I was all into the quick scoping scene. So of course, I was rocking that 10 sensitivity and everything. And I feel like my gameplay was worse for it, but that's all the pros did that, and I had to be like them.
Yeah.
But let's reel it back in PlayStation 2, so we can talk about like Call of Duty Big Red 1. But Lou, what was one of your favorite games on the PlayStation 2?
So the first game that I thought of is definitely not one of my favorite games, but I ended up having two PlayStation 2s. And the first, I know,
At the same
No.
time, or did one replace the other?
one replaced the other.
Okay.
Okay, same.
And so my first, could you imagine one upstairs and one downstairs?
Bougie.
Balling.
Bougie. My
He's
first
joking. Nobody has two PlayStations.
my first PlayStation broke, and the only game that I could play on it was this game called State of Emergency, and it was like a bootleg version of like a Grand Theft Auto game mixed with like that zombie game where you're in the mall. Do you remember the name of that one?
Oh, Dead Rising?
Oh,
Dead
yeah,
Rise.
The one.
It was like a mixture of those two. So I played a ton of State of Emergency until my family was like, all right, we have to give him a new one. And yeah, I was way too young playing this game. I'm like looking back and I'm like watching it, and it is a brutal. I can't believe I was like mass murdering people at the age of like 10. Like, it's
I
pretty
don't
wild.
even recognize this cover.
Is that not normal?
I depending on the parent, I'm not here to judge anybody's parenting styles. I think like a big thing before I figured out what makes games good, I think all I cared about was like shock value. And two games that came to mind: is State of Emergency and this other game called The Getaway. And it's again like this like worst version of Grand Theft Auto, but in British. And you're just driving around London, I think, or some sort of communist country, and just shooting people. So,
I
pretty
mean,
good stuff.
I'm not espousing this theory, but there are those who would argue that running around shooting communists is for the greater good.
It's American.
So,
Oh, I just made a joke that London was a communist country.
Oh,
I-
okay. I'm summing
Nah,
that.
I was wondering. I'm like,
Oh, man,
there's not much correlation here. Did you have so there's two main versions of the PlayStation 2. I don't know if it was actually there's the slim, but then there's the fat. Did you guys have Lou, did you have one of each, or did you both
had
have
one
the
of
fat?
each.
Yeah, me too.
Yep, I had a fat, and then it broke when we moved to Westland, and it was weird because so like we moved. Some people from church helped us move. The PS2 broke. It was probably just it broke in the move. I really genuinely don't think it was anyone's fault. It was just old and got jostled. But we left for family camp like the next day. So like we moved in, found out the PS2 was broken. I was super bummed. Went to family camp, got home. My sister runs upstairs and she's like, guys, someone painted my room. And we were all like, no, dude, like, you've been here one day. Nobody painted your room. You just don't remember what color your walls are. She was like, no, somebody painted my room. We were like, no, seriously, stop. She was younger at the time. And then she goes, Mom, they're pink. And all of us were like, okay, hold on. Every home or every wall in a Rice home is like some form of beige. There's no way, or beige or white. There's no way she's mixing that up. And somebody from church had got back in the house, and they like did this crazy paint job on my sister's room, and they left a new PS2 Slim on my bed. And so
Phantom giver.
Yeah. So
Yeah, your dad must have been saving some souls.
Yeah, that's the trick, man.
Save the souls, get a PlayStation.
Exactly.
It's a good trade.
It's like it's like a employee of the year program from God. It's like you get points to the company store. You can get your kids a new PlayStation.
Not the PS5 Pro though. That's still too much.
Yeah, no, I don't see that happening.
Plus the attachment. Yeah, you definitely.
And the stand. Do you guys play vertical or horizontal? What do you have your
Horizontal.
console in?
Yeah, you're a psychopath if you do vertical.
Was this like? I feel like it was one of the first consoles where you could play it, where you like officially you could play it standing up or laying down.
It was actually the second.
Oh.
I did some of my own research with the intern, and I forget which Atari console it was, but there was an Atari, it was like the Atari Falcon maybe or something, that it basically ripped the design off of. Like they took super direct inspiration from it. And some of the creative team has even like come out and be like, yeah, no, we were doing this. But I don't know how well that particular Atari sold. So
Not well.
It might have just been, yeah. So it was the first big successful mainline console.
I feel like Atari did everything first. They just didn't do it right.
Yeah. People just came in and really Nintendo came in and for the most part just blew past them.
Yeah, Atari was like a bunch of cokeheads who were just like, let's do a glove, a bowling ball, glasses. Let's do it all.
And Nintendo had some crazy crap too along the way. But,
Yeah, the Power Glove.
Right.
I guess maybe that's what I'm thinking about the glove.
Yeah, because they had like, there's a movie basically just to promote the Power Glove. But again, we're diverging here.
Right.
My bad.
No, you're good. We're giving people little tidbits. They can go do some research on their own.
Yeah, suck on these tidbits.
Whoa. I had two.
That out, Luke.
Sorry. You gotta edit.
I also had two, but there are different times. This was in the time of my life when I was doing the GameStop shuffle. You know, I'd buy a console, spend money, get a bunch of games, sell it back, lose like probably 30% of the value, and get something else. So I had both a fat and a slim at different periods. Both actually, I might have had the silver slim, but I'm pretty sure they were both black. But I may have had the silver slim. If not, then one of my friends did, and we used that a lot. But I guess we should have started out with this. Do you guys remember when you got your first PS2? Mine was probably 2003, 2004.
Oh, I don't remember the year. I know I had a GameCube, and I wanted to move to the PS2, but I didn't have enough in trade-in value, so I got a PS1. And my mom convinced me that I should return it and save up for a couple more weeks because I was so close to having enough for a PS2. And so I took the PS1 back to GameStop, returned it, which was all within the policy. And the guy got so mad at me, not because I was returning the PlayStation 2, but because I had taken the price tags off the games. He was like, dude, why'd you have to take all the tags off? I was like, because I thought I was going to keep them. What do you want? Like, we're kind of a psychopath. Keep the price tags on their box all the time. I don't know. Maybe it's me being a psychopath for taking them off. But yeah, and then I just saved up for like a month. So there was like a long month there where I had no video games. And then, I was able to get the PS2 mint in the box.
How about you, Lou?
The first time I remember getting one.
Yeah, I guess. Do you know like what time?
No,
like what year, what grade about?
No, I just remember. So I remember being, because that was before I got adopted. I remember having a PlayStation. and then I'm pretty sure I got adopted, and it was just there. Like that was just part of the trade, I guess.
Instead of saving souls, you take Lou and you get a PS2.
Yeah, just
Similar
kind of
enough.
came with the process. Yeah, um, yeah. So I think that was it.
What
Gotcha.
about you? How'd you get yours, Rob?
Like I said, it was part of that GameStop shuffle. I had a
Oh, right,
PlayStation 1 at first, and my neighbor Kevin, who I'd go and play GTA, he always got the newer consoles before me. I think his parents bought him the consoles. I always had to save up or, use birthday money or something. But I remember one time we were playing a game when we tried to play the PS2 game on the PlayStation, didn't work. But surprisingly, the DualShock 2 did work on the PlayStation. I was kind of blown away that even that backward compatibility with the controller worked.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were trying to play Spyro or something, or some game that was 2-player. But
Yeah, it even had like forward compatibility. Like you could plug a PS2 DualShock into a PS1.
sorry,
And it would work.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
If I said it poorly,
Okay,
I'm not
my
feeling
fault.
the best.
Well,
but,
because it also worked in the other direction. Like you could use it in the PS3, I think, if you had the right kind of adapter. So, like,
not
that thing-
the PS3 was. Well, they had a USB, but they didn't have like the classic plugins like the PlayStation 1 and 2 had.
Yeah, you had to have like I said, you needed some kind of an adapter, but I think you could use it like in either direction, which is just nuts.
And I don't think I ever said what my favorite game was, but my favorite game was the 13th best-selling game on the PlayStation 2, and that was Kingdom Hearts 2.
Ooh, classic.
And I loved the Kingdom Hearts franchise basically during the PS2 era. Then it just got crazy. And then I got Kingdom Hearts 3, and there's like, I think there's more cutscene hours than like gameplay hours, so it was just too much for me.
It's
But
insane.
yeah, and there's one thing I wanted to talk about is I remember going to a different friend's house when he had a PS2 and I didn't, and he was in the Coliseum level for Kingdom Hearts 1, and I thought it was the most cool thing ever. Like these graphics, like wow, it's really in like a Disney movie, and I was just so blown away. So do you guys remember like the first game that you were really blown away by this new console graphics?
I do remember, but it's I do remember. Yeah.
Oh gosh, was it
Sure.
like Extreme Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball or something, Lou?
No, close though. Let's
Oh,
say that.
gosh.
Did you hear it in my voice? Oh my god.
I assumed it was like God of War.
No. It's called and have the intern look this up, but it's called Mr. Mosquito.
Okay.
And you literally play it as a mosquito. And if you Google it and you go to images, second row, there's a mission where you have to get blood from a certain person in a certain place. And I was enthralled as a child. I thought the graphics on here were top notch. So good.
Oh my.
Yeah. Now, are you looking at it?
Just. I feel like I read something on Reddit. Like someone's like, this was a weird game back in the day.
It was so
In
weird.
the past week or so. I think it was maybe Hidden Gems and someone recommended Mr. Mosquito, but sometime in the past week, someone recommended or talked about it on Reddit.
Part of me wants to figure out. I couldn't beat the game. There's a lot of at this age, I couldn't beat games to save my life. And I would love to see like how hard it would be to beat this game now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the water physics, all that good stuff.
Blew little Lou's mind.
It was probably. It might have been Need for Speed Underground 2 was probably the first one where I was like, whoa. Which is hilarious because I've seen gameplay that not that long ago, and it's like, it's not bad for the time, but it's not like mind blowing.
It's crazy what your mind will do. Like in my mind, Ocarina of Time had very realistic graphics.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how I felt about Metal Gear Solid 1 too. It's like, this is freaking photorealistic. And then you look back and you're like, oh, that's a polygon with something resembling a face smeared across it.
I always loved the 350Z for Need for Speed Underground 2.
I rocked my Honda Civic all the way through that whole game.
Nice.
Wow.
At least
that's cool.
by stats,
Color
it
was
was the
it?
best car I had. Constantly changing. I really liked the pearlescent paint sets, though.
Change get the neon lights underneath.
Yep.
Oh, that was the coolest thing back in the day. I'm like, when I grow up and get a car, I'm putting neon on the bottom.
Neon lights.
Oh.
It's illegal, isn't it?
That's what people say. I don't know. If you guys know, leave it in the comments if we're allowed to have neon. I feel like people do it with LEDs. You know, I don't know if it's a chemical thing, but who knows?
Yeah, I preferred Most Wanted. I thought that game was more fun overall, but I think the aesthetics of Underground 2 were just unmatched.
Didn't Underground 2 have Riders of the Storm on the soundtrack?
Yeah,
That
Snoop
song
Dogg on
creeped
there.
me out as a kid. Talking about like some hitchhiker just killing people. I'm like, oh, geez, that sounds pretty awful. Don't pick up a hitchhiker, Mom.
I don't think I ever like processed what they were saying in that song. I was just like, oh, all right.
I wasn't processing anything in 2004. I was just taking things in.
Just like physics. Give me physics.
Did either of you guys have Guitar Hero for PlayStation?
I didn't have it for PlayStation, but I played it on PlayStation. I think
Okay.
360 was the first time I got it.
That had to have accounted for like the last 25 to 30% of my my playtime. Like once I got Guitar Hero, it was just over. I played so much Guitar Hero.
Did you know how to play guitar before Guitar Hero, or was that the first time?
No, that was what eventually got me into it. I went to Jacob and Andrew's house, and they had Guitar Hero, and I was like, yeah, I'll try it out. And I was like, it can't be that hard. And so like I set it to medium, and it just kicked my ass. And like I was so butthurt, but also so like this was so much fun. It was the middle of winter. It snowed like crazy the next day, so I did all my schoolwork as fast as I could, and then I shoveled lawns. I still do that. Shoveled sidewalks.
You want to know who did
For-
lawn work?
Hours. Did Lou do lawn work?
I think he
up.
did.
Shut up. Shut up. Yikes. Oh my gosh.
Damn it! I just shoveled snow for like the whole day, like 8 hours. I did a shift and then like had to call GameStop. Like, do you have Guitar Hero? Nope. All right. I literally had like a phone book open, which is, how about you guys? Nope. I was like, all right, Mom, I found one like 3 towns over, and she was like nice enough to drive me up to go get to Guitar Hero.
You had a phone book that you were calling people?
Yeah, man, this was back in the day. When did
Got the yellow pages, you know.
when did
I
Guitar
guess
Hero
I don't
1 come out?
remember.
I don't know. I didn't really play Guitar Hero 1. I was more of a Guitar Hero 2 person. That's what I was introduced with. And funny enough, that was the 25th best-selling game of all time at 3.41 million.
I think it was also Guitar Hero 2. Which one was
It
not
came out in 06.
2 had like Bon Jovi as the singer. Like he looked like Bon Jovi.
Mm-hmm.
Had Raining Blood. No, Raining Blood may have been 3.
It was 3, yeah.
It
2 had
Freebird was like the end song.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
Had
we went Bark to the
Trogdor.
Moon, Freebird, and then Devil Went Down to Georgia. I think were the 3.
No, Devil Went
Final
Down to
songs.
Georgia was 3. That's the end battle.
That one's hard.
Yeah, it freaking sucks.
Yeah.
It had Message in the Bottle.
Yeah.
Message in the Bottle. That's the one. So that was
Shout
2.
at the Devil.
That was 2.
Shout out to Devil. That was
I thought
good.
that was 3 as well.
I still to this day, no, it's definitely 2. I
Okay.
still to this day, if I hear a song off basically any of the first 3 Guitar Heroes, I will sit there for a minute with a blank stare, and then I'll go, Guitar Hero 2. And everyone around me is like, what? I'm like, that's the Guitar Hero the song's from. Did you not know that? Do you not process that in that order?
Well, it's crazy because 1 and 2, most of the songs didn't have the master track, so they were actually covers,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't know for a long time because that was like my first introduction to the songs in classic rock.
Yeah, I used to wonder why Spanish Castle Magic had lyrics in it when Jimi Hendrix did it, and I didn't like it as much.
Yeah, but there's a lot of peripherals for the PlayStation 2. There's the DDR dance pad, which came right before the Guitar Hero craze. There's the buzz controller. I don't remember. They had if you guys remember, there's like a trivia game, and they had an actual peripheral where you can buzz and have like different colors.
Oh, very cool.
Buzz for it.
That was-
There's the SingStar microphone, which was also used on the High School Musical game.
Did not know that.
There's a USB keyboard and mouse adapter, so you could. I don't know what games you'd use it on, but they had it. There was also you could get an internet adapter, a network adapter for the PlayStation
That's what I
2,
was wondering.
which was wild. I think Dreamcast was the first console to get it, but PS2 destroyed the Dreamcast. And then one thing I know, Lou and I, we talked about this beforehand, but we had the iToy. I don't know if you guys remember that, but the iToy Play was, I've written down here, the 18th best-selling game, and it was wild. I remember they had like this
Was
boxing
it the thing with the camera?
Yeah, it was the camera peripheral, and had very shoddy controls, but I loved it as a kid.
Would that be like augmented reality games, basically?
Yeah, they like have overlays over you, so you'd see like your basement or wherever you were, your setup, and they'd overlay things, and it would try to sense your movement. It was like basically a Kinect, and they would have cool. There's one where you like hit ninjas. There's a boxing one. There's a drum set one.
There's one where you're washing windows.
Yeah, there's like a washing windows one.
Washing windows was my favorite. I thought I was gonna dedicate my life to washing windows.
You're like,
after that.
Like one day, I'm gonna get out of the lawn business. I'm gonna wash windows.
I want to be a window washer, Dad.
I want to be with. I hate grass. It makes me itchy.
It's coarse and it's rough and it gets everywhere.
Yeah, and it was crazy because like my mom's not a video game person, but even she would play that. We'd do like the boxing things and see how far we could go. And I think they also had like some yoga stretching, but no, who does that? Yoga never became popular.
And at least like it didn't call you overweight like the
Wii Fit.
The Wii Fit. It was good to be big because you can get more of the screen.
You can chop more of the ninjas, you know.
Chop more than ninjas. Clean all the windows.
Yeah, I just remember the suds. I don't remember there was a window cleaner. I just remember there's something with suds, so that must have been it.
Maybe it is the suds. I thought it was windows, but it could be just the suds. I do remember I did a lot of kung fuing back in the day. Mm-hmm. A lot of culture appropriation there. That was before.
Probably had kung fu fighting in the background. If it knows all that.
Yeah.
Is that song? Was that song canceled?
I don't know, man. I don't know if it's canceled or not.
I wouldn't ask Mike that question. He just made an island.
It was a travesty.
Do you have any like hidden gems when it comes to the PlayStation 2 games? Any like weird ones? I know I talked about the Mr. Mosquito.
Oh man. There was this one where you were like a ninja tiger. I don't know what it was called, but it was really fun. I had it for a little bit before the PS2 finally died out. So I don't remember what it was called specifically, but if anybody can find the Ninja Tiger game, I'd be interested to know what that one was called.
The stay in brand with the ninjas, there's this game called iNinja.
Yes.
That me and my friend loved it. And I went back and watched some gameplay like maybe a year ago. It was so corny. Yeah.
It's so corny. But at the time I thought it was because you can run up walls and stuff, right?
Yeah. And you just like deliver one-liners and you like fight in these Gundam, whatever you say it, the mech things, and I thought it was the crap. And it was rated T, so it was pretty edgy back in the day.
Because you die, right? Because that was the whole idea of it. That's why it was teen. Because it looks like a kid's game.
Mm-hmm.
Probably with violence.
Let's see. How much is it on Amazon? You can buy it for $30 on the PlayStation 2 on Amazon.
Oh, nice.
Can't see why it's rated T though.
I played this one game. It was a football game. I don't think a lot of people had heard of it. It was called Madden 2004.
2005 sold better.
Yeah, but 2004 was the best.
When did the hit stick came out? 2006, right?
I think 6. All I know for sure was 6. I think was the Vision Cone, the much maligned Vision Cone. Yeah. And I was like, this is weird. I don't like this, and I stopped. I'm realizing as I try and think about it, I don't think I had too many hidden gems I played. I think I actually played a lot of pretty standard classics without realizing it.
Yeah. I played Star Wars Battlefront 2. That was pretty hidden.
Yeah.
No one's heard of that one.
Nope.
I had that on PS2 and Xbox.
Nightfire, and I've talked about both of these games, but Nightfire and Time Splitters 2.
Time Splitters, I never heard of Time Splitters until I met you, Mike.
That's a good one. We played a little bit when you came over the other night. That was
Yeah,
fun.
it was solid. Except for that sniper. That sniper was.
Oh, it's jank as crap. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
Nightfire has a way better sniper. European Assault. Basically, all my it's an old episode, but like most of my picks off top first-person shooters for PS2 games.
Wasn't much into shooters until later in my life.
PS3.
PS3, yeah, PS4.
Do you
I
guys?
didn't like get to play online till later in my life.
Yeah,
so I didn't even know.
I was a 360 is when I got the online.
Yeah.
My friend though that I
Right.
saw Kingdom Hearts, he had it. He had the Ethernet hookup, and I thought it was the craziest thing ever that he could play like a 16-player multiplayer game. Like, what is this black magic going on?
I got a list of like I really went down the rabbit trail on some of the games that I played back in the day. So I did talk about Mr. Mosquito, which, I think some people might like that. Probably people who would enjoy anime physics. Another one is, you ever heard of EA Sports Big Freestyle? It's a
No.
motorcycle game.
No.
That was awesome. It's pretty much like Tony Hawk, but what's that snowboarding game? It's like
SSX or something like that.
XSX, yeah, something like that. It's pretty much that, but instead of snow, it's dirt. And that was really fun as a child. Peter Jackson, King Kong, the official video game. I would have renamed it, but
Ooh.
I would have renamed it something different. But that game was probably pound for pound the best movie game of all time.
Oh, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. The Lord of the Rings tie-in games.
Return of the King was
Fantastic.
Oh my gosh, yes,
so good.
it's also on my list. I think nostalgically, I think Peter Jackson's better because you're fighting dinosaurs. But
I mean, they're both Peter Jackson, so
That's fair.
either way, he's got the title.
he's got the sauce. And then a game called Shinobi, which was probably like my first love for ninjas. But the game was so hard at the end, I could not finish it.
Was it like a
but I
Ninja
tried.
Gaiden type thing?
It was like a Ninja Gaiden type thing, and what got me to the game became to where you have to kill to live because your health meter was dropping drastically, and I was a very anxious little boy. So as soon as I saw my health meter go down, I could not handle it, and I had to quit the game. I would love to go back to it and try to see if I can finish it.
Hey, if you guys want to see a gaming channel, just let us know down in the comments. We'll see what we can do.
It'd be fun.
That would be fun.
My wife was listening to the last week's pod, and we brought up like Putt Putt and Freddy Fish. I'm like, we should do a top pod plays Freddy Fish, just see how fast we can get through it.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
That would make me very happy.
I'm surprised you didn't say Jack and Dexter, which I didn't know, Lou, actually had a subtitle of the Precursor Legacy. Didn't know that. I just always call it Jack and Dexter. Sold
Oh, the first
4.2
one
million.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that
17th
top-
best-selling game.
17.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, that is on my list of like all-time favorites, but the sneaky ones were the ones I wanted to talk about.
Do you ever play Sly Cooper?
I wish. It looks good.
It looks cool. I played with it as like a couple years ago, and I didn't like it. I think it's just the controls were a little too old for me. But
Jank.
yeah, is what it is. Oh, and Beautiful Joe. Well, Beautiful Joe. You guys ever seen that game?
Is that the one with like the red jumpsuit?
Yep.
Yeah, that.
I never played it, but I had a friend who had it for, I want to say, GameCube.
Yeah, I think it was on a GameCube.
GameCube was probably the. It was on PlayStation, I think, too.
Yeah, I think it was
I'm
those
sure it was
two.
cross-platform.
Yeah. Okay, I was just checking, but yeah, that was pretty cool.
I've heard great things about it. Never got to play it.
Yeah.
So some of the games I pulled out because I thought you guys would be interested. Kingdom Hearts was the 10th best-selling game. Or is it Kingdom Hearts 2? God of War, the 14th best-selling game. And
Wow.
the second one comes in at 16. The
Wow.
last one I got is Ratchet and Clank at 22. Were one of you guys
Wasn't
Ratchet and
never been
Clank
great.
fan?
Sorry.
Or was that Mike? I know that we talked about Ratchet and Clank sometime in the pod, and someone
We
got
talked
stuff
about it
mixed up.
because, it was that Lou was talking about Jack and Dexter, and I was picturing Ratchet and Clank the whole time. I was like, huh? This doesn't make any sense.
I remember trying to explain Jack and Dexter, and it sounded like an idiot. So.
Well, it sounds even crazier when you're trying to fit like what you were explaining into the cover of Ratchet and Clank.
Where's the robot?
Where's the robot? Yeah, I've never been a Ratchet and Clank fan. It's not been. I do want to play the newest one, but
I think, was it Crash 3 was on PS2, I believe. Loved that game.
Was Crash 3 on PS2?
I thought so.
It wasn't.
Was it Nitro in Time? Was that what the subtitle was? Something like that?
I don't know. I have the Insane Trilogy on the Switch, but I'd have to run and check.
Because that was one of the games I bought as a kid, like on the PlayStation, because that's what the first two were on. And then I'm like, oh, I can't play this because I don't have a PlayStation 2. And I was sad until I got one.
Yeah, because I want to say Crash 4 is It's About Time, which was a great pun, but I heard the game was only okay. Or maybe I could be thinking of a different game.
The Wrath of Cortex was
3.
3. That was on PS2.
See, I didn't know what Crash was all about because the only exposure to Crash I ever had was Crash Team Racing. And so I thought, like, that was what I thought of when I thought of Crash. And then the first time I played a real Crash game, I was like, this is weird and bizarre, but I kind of
where's
like
the car?
Yeah, right?
I mean,
You guys ever play?
Go for it.
Oh, you guys ever play Crazy Taxi?
No, but I wish I had. It looks like so much fun.
No,
It
but
is so much.
that reminds me of The Simpsons Hit and Run.
That one too.
Hit
I
and
was
Run
looking
was
for
good.
anything like either of those on the PS5. I was trying to find, and it's just like it doesn't exist. They don't have fun, like, wacky racing games anymore.
I feel like the Taxi one you still could, but the Simpsons ones, probably the licensing ran out.
Sure, but I'm sure they could figure something out and re-release it. Everybody likes money.
Mm-hmm. Was Crazy Taxi you're just driving around and like ramming into stuff? Wasn't that kind of the premise?
Pretty much like, and you're trying to avoid running into things.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like one of those games where it's great as a kid, and then as an adult you're like, this is very flat, very boring. But Hit and Run's pretty good. There's another one called Stuntman, where you're a stunt driver and you have to complete certain tasks while you're driving. That one was pretty fun too as a child.
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
I played a lot of PlayStation 2 games.
Yeah, Lou's got all the deep cuts.
Yeah, it didn't have a social life.
I mean, I didn't either. Mike was homeschooled, so.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of my library. It was all mainstream games for the most part.
Oh, here's a deep cut. I played a surprising amount of GoldenEye Rogue Agent on the PS2, which is a game that had some good ideas, but ultimately was just like lacking in content on multiplayer, and so nobody else wanted to play with me. But the single player was fun.
Mm-hmm. Another good movie tie-in was the Revenge of the Sith tie-in game. That one was really fun. It's kind of a more of a. There's some some parts where it's like kind of Mortal Kombat, or I guess Soul Calibur would be a better thing with like the weapons fighting, but you're just like running around being a Jedi or Sith and just wrecking havoc, and it was such a fun game.
Nice.
What was it called again?
Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, just the tie-in game. I think you can still get it. I know you can get it on Xbox Marketplace. I'm sure you can get it on the PlayStation 1. And there's like this cool alternate ending where at the end of Episode 3, Anakin actually kills Obi-Wan, and then he just like goes down and strikes on Palpatine and rules the galaxy. I always thought that was like the coolest thing ever.
That is pretty sick.
That does sound cool.
I forgot about these until just now, but I played a bunch of, I don't know which numbers they were, but the Mortal Kombat games on PS2, where the fights were actually in like a 3D ring, but you still stayed like locked onto each other in a plane, but you could like rotate around each other. I don't know if I'm describing this well or not.
No, kind of just like a Soul Calibur, right?
Yeah.
Yes, just like Soul Calibur, but those were a lot of fun.
Yeah, I didn't play I know Soul Calibur 2, I think, was the big one on PlayStation 2. Or maybe it was and 3, but I always played it on the GameCube for Soul Calibur 2. We got Link.
Because you got
That was
Link,
the coolest thing ever, yeah. It was busted apparently. I just button mashed, so I didn't know what was good or what wasn't.
Yeah, I think every Soul Calibur game had a like someone specific to their console, but I don't know any of them but Link.
5 had Yoda and Darth Vader,
Oh,
and,
sick.
and then
Oh, sorry, I meant so like every Soul Calibur 2 across the different consoles each had a console specific.
You brought up a good.
It's probably Cloud from Final Fantasy, but
No, I don't think we could look it up because that was Final Fantasy 7. That would have been a PlayStation 1.
Oh, you're right.
So there's also an Xbox One. I think it might have been Soul Calibur 3, but one had the Spawn in it.
You remember the Spawn?
Yeah. But Mike, you brought up a good thing about multiplayer, and I want to talk about some of the few downsides with the PlayStation 2, and that was only having 2 controller ports. You had to buy an accessory to be able to get up to 4 players.
Oh, you know I had that accessory though.
You did?
Oh yeah, that was the best.
I remember
I had the accessory and 4 controllers. Everybody played games at my house.
Sorry if you guys hear this dog going crazy in the background. It's my neighbors. But
I thought that was somebody here.
I remember there was some. I think it was for the PlayStation 1, but there was some Crash, like how Crash was definitely ripping off Mario, but there was some Mario Party-esque Crash game that I thought was like the coolest thing. I think that would have been PlayStation 1, but that was like my first memory playing 4-player. Was on that.
Yeah, I've seen that game. I've seen like a review of it. I don't remember what it was called, but it actually didn't look too bad. Yeah, we played a lot of Nightfire, and we played a little bit of not Call of Duty, Medal of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
I never played any of the Medal of Honor games.
You can skip all of them except European Assault, and maybe the first one.
Oh, I think you've said this already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot take: I didn't mind the reboot Medal of Honor. They tried to bring it back in like 2009, 2010. It was like a good mix between Call of Duty and Battlefield, and I didn't really like Battlefield, so I liked that style of it, but it was kind of panned. And maybe now that I have more of a taste, I wouldn't like it, but I didn't mind it. But the PlayStation 2 one was some person from Tekken. I'm not gonna even. It was Mishima was the last name. I'm not gonna try to say the first name.
Is that the older gentleman?
Let's see. I don't know. Yes, it's the guy with like the winged hair almost.
Yeah. That's the dad. I didn't know that Baldur's Gate was on PlayStation 2. It's one of the greatest.
Dark Alliances.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a third-person one. I've heard good things about it. I haven't played it.
There's another. Here's my real deep cut. Is I played an insane amount of Red Faction 2 for how bad that game was.
I never played any of the Red Factions, but I've always wanted to. There's a ton of PlayStation games that I've never really got around to.
I think the first one was actually pretty critically acclaimed, but I went back to play it after the second one. I was like, I don't like it. It's missing like features. It feels weird. And then I played the one that isn't Guerrilla. I played for 360, and it had horrible reviews, but I actually really enjoyed it on 360.
Was Shadow Colossus? That was on PS2, right?
Yes, that was. I got that just on a whim. Like, I didn't even know it was supposed to be this incredible game. I was like, this looks cool. Mm-hmm. That was, I think, the last game I beat on PS2.
Ooh. One thing I love, Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 and 2. Yes. But 3 was definitely the better one, but those were fantastic games.
People talk about Tenkaichi it's so much better than Budokai, but I love Budokai so much more.
I never played Tenkaichi, but
no,
there's an HD remake of 1 and 3 on the Xbox 360, and I played the mess out of that.
So good. And now and I don't want to keep going away from PlayStation, but now the Dragon Ball Z games are just so weird because it's all open area versus
Battle Z isn't bad. It's more of a classic fighter game, though.
Yes, that's more of a way classic. I just want the middle ground between the two.
Remake it, cowards. Sorry, I looked up the lesser known PS2 games, and that was the first one's DBZ Budokai 3. But do you guys ever watch G4? I figured, Lou, maybe you watched G4 as a kid.
I watched a lot
of the video game channel.
Yeah, I remember seeing Shadow Colossus, and just my mind being blown when I do that. But I was definitely the most hyped when the Kingdom Hearts 2 review was on there. Was it Adam and something? I don't remember her name.
I don't know, but I definitely had a crush on her. That's the
Mhm.
only girl I knew that liked video games at the time. So like,
Yeah, well, I only
was
ever got to watch it once. We had we went up north and this random house had it on cable and I was just like glued to it every chance I could be.
Yeah, I only saw it at my grandparents' house.
So what happens when you raise a Christian.
Or at my neighbor's house too, but different. What was that? What was that show called though? I don't G4.
Yeah, it's called G4, right?
Well, that was
That
the
was the
channel.
Oh,
I didn't know there were
X-Play.
shows on it.
That's what it was. X-Play.
I thought it just ran the same thing all day.
didn't Olivia Mudd do something too for video games?
Think so. Let's see. Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb. That was her name. Yeah.
I was thinking like I was looking at like all these video games, and it was probably so much fun to make video games back in the day versus now. I feel like
It
the
looked like they
pressure-
had more fun.
Yeah, just like the pressure. I just feel like it's not as like the pressure isn't that strong. Like Ubisoft right now, like they have to do well in their next Assassin's Creed game, or they're gonna lose so much stock.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I don't think that was like a that big of a thing back in the day. I don't know. I might be talking out of my pretty, but I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
Hey, we try to keep
Yeah.
it radio friendly, and you can say ass on the radio. So
Oh, can I?
you can't say ass, and then if you want to dig something, you can't have those two. But you could say
Ass.
hole.
I want to
You
dig
can't
in
say
my
ass pit?
You can't. You could say ass pit, but you can't say another word for pit. It's weird the U.S. radio things. But
Asshole.
whoa, Lou,
Oh,
you can't.
sorry.
Say,
I'm
whoa,
sorry.
bro.
Whoa!
I have to edit this.
I just had a
All
hard
right,
time.
calm down there,
understanding.
Kyle.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
But yeah, I think video games now is like such a cultural thing, and the PS2 is definitely part of the reason. Like if you go back and watch the releases, like there's one in Spain where people were like clawing at each other to try to get it, the PlayStation 2. But it's just so much bigger of a thing now that it's like you don't get. People are trying to make a profit more than they're just trying to make good games. It seems like.
Yeah.
Well, and like we've kind of gotten to the point where there's no need for like a crazy art style, right? Because like if you take so gosh, okay, here, yeah. So let's go back to Underground 2, right? Like all the cutscenes were those comic book panels, and it gave it like it's this really cool vibe. Now they just everything can be photorealistic if you want, and so you can just make everything look real, but that costs so much more money, and so it's like you lose that fun element that comes from coming up with a creative art style that can survive the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
And instead it's like it's like and then because most AAA studios are like, oh, we have to do something hyper realistic, then like all the life and all the joy and all the creativity kind of gets stripped out of it from a visual perspective anyway. So it's like it looks like it was more fun to make them. I think a lot of the times it was more fun to play them back in the day, and yeah.
I just think
That's
it's
why indies are
crazy,
so good.
like how far the graphics have come. Because like, let's be honest, between like say PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox X, or whatever system, like they're very similar graphics. It's not like such a jump going from the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 2. It's more of like nowadays you get more of the finer details, but like character models are still relatively similar. And it's kind of it's sad in the sense that like we won't get that, and maybe that's just me being used to it. But the return on, there's some term for it where it's like at some point you really can't get much better than where it's at.
Oh, diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kinda
we're
hit
closing
that
in
point.
on it, which doesn't bother me too much, but being
Yeah.
able to see isn't really a thing for me. So it is fun though to see people who haven't seen like a new video game in a long time. Like, I forget what I was playing. I was playing something, and one of my parents walked through the room, and they were just like, "Holy crap!" Like, 'cause I think the last thing they saw was a PS2.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's a Spider-Man. Parents saw you playing Spider-Man.
No, it wasn't that. It was
Shout out to
probably-
Spider-Man 2. That game was fantastic.
Oh,
was pretty
the first Spider-Man too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so cool because in the first one you don't even get to go on the floor, like on the ground.
Yeah. You just
And they're
die.
like, you just die. Like, how does that even thing? And then they come out with you get the whole world together. It's like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool.
That's
Greatest
one
sequel of all time.
Could probably.
Any medium? Very, very
I,
realistically, could be a chance.
I like Jack 2 better personally, but
Yeah. I think that Spider-Man 2 I don't want to go back to because I feel like it's not as good as I remember it, and I'm just going to let that one live in its like nostalgia haven that I keep it in.
That's fair.
nostalgia.
Well, the new Spider-Man 2 was good, but not as good as the first one. So
Not as good as being a saucy black teen.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty comparable. That might have been the best IGN review of all time from a fail perspective. It was so funny.
He didn't say saucy, but he did say something like that.
I think
swag.
it was,
Swag?
Yeah, like something like like the swag of a black teen or whatever. Yeah, it was so funny. Super cringe.
Yeah. Going through this list, also NHL Hits 2002. I just love all those hits and blitz games.
Blitz, yeah.
But I love that NHL Hits game. It had it's like the only Limp Bizkit song I know. It was Rollin' opened that up, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. If you got like a hat trick, you'd like catch on fire and everything. My lineup was always Steve Yzerman, Brandon Shanahan, and Evan Hall. Was it Evan Hall? I think his first name was Evan. And the Red Wings would win all the time. Granted, that was during their glory days. It was right in there.
This is a massive tangent, so I'll keep it quick. But Mackenzie and I, when it came out, we watched the Zoe 102 movie. And there's a point where Michael, the character Michael, not myself, they go to karaoke and they convince him to do Rollin'. And he's supposed to be performing the ceremony, but he completely loses his voice from doing Rollin' on karaoke. And it was the only funny part of the whole movie. And I will never be able to hear that song without thinking of that movie. Otherwise, terrible movie, but hilarious scene.
Was that like a more recent movie?
Yeah, very recent. Last year or two. Speaking of movies, it was a DVD player.
It's true. You could buy a remote.
Could you really?
Yeah, it was one of the peripherals. The intern was telling me he watched like this hour-and-a-half video documentary in the PS2, and apparently Sony would take a loss on the console, like when selling the consoles, but they'd make up for it in their memory drives and like the remotes and everything and controllers. So it's a very interesting sales tactic. Because at the time, you could buy a PS2 cheaper than a lot of DVD players.
Yeah, that's why like people. I think that's part of why they were so big for sales. Is people are like, well, it's just cheaper to get the PS2. We don't even care about the video games, but.
Yeah. And the 8-bit or 8 megabyte memory card. Whoo, cooking there.
Gosh, I'm so happy we had to take care of memory cards. I would be losing my memory card constantly.
Well, but then think if you just had a dedicated Call of Duty memory card, then you wouldn't have to delete all the games. Part of me is kind of for it.
I literally, because of the Call of Duty, I had to buy an extension.
That's fair.
To play the tank game.
Yeah, one of the first things I did when I got the PS5 was to get the terabyte hard drive and just plug it in the back.
Yeah, you have to.
We're just at those graphics, man. We're at a crazy time for.
Right.
I wonder. What would be interesting is how many modern games would it take to like fill half of the PS2 library? Like if you broke those down to gigabytes. 'Cause I'm sure those were like 1 or 2 gigabytes. Like how many modern games would it take? Like less than 100, I would guess, of AAA modern games.
Right. Less than 50 if it was all just repeated copies of Modern Warfare from the sound of it.
It was like 360 gigs or something like that.
You couldn't have another game.
Same for the Black Ops 3 demo, or 6 demo. Sorry, I'm a little behind here.
Do you remember? The reason why the game was so big?
No,
it's because, well, not even the cosmetics. It's because, like during multiplayers, instead of instead of it just being a map, like there would be tons of maps connected to like the one map, but you just couldn't get to the other parts of the map. Does that make sense?
So it's like a big Warzone map, and they just only locked you in.
And they only let you in one spot.
That's dumb.
It's just ridiculous.
Did you guys, Mike? You said you had a silver PS2 Slim.
Yes.
Lou, did you get any of the crazy colors for the PlayStation 2?
No, I've been a black guy my whole life, except for my white PlayStation 4. So I don't know what I'm saying.
They had a white PS4?
Yeah, it was like one of the first ones. I got it with Destiny 2.
Oh, nice.
Which was not a good game. I would not recommend it.
It got better.
Yeah. Sorry, Jacob and Andrew's brother, but I agree with Lou.
Ugh.
You guys have any other last minute thoughts on the PlayStation 2?
I just got a list of games.
Hit us with
Shut
it.
up. Ooh. Oh, sorry.
Wasn't ready for it.
I was not ready for it.
Star Wars
Hawk
Bounty Hunter.
Underground.
Dose?
I prefer 1 to 2, but they're both good. I also, hot take, liked American Wasteland.
American Wasteland.
I think we talked about that in the pod.
Probably.
But Tony Hawk said he's in talks with EA for a new game. You can't say any more than that. But
you saw
exciting.
the interview with
his final meal.
Final Meal.
It's the first one I watched of it. I'm like, yeah, I like Tony Hawk. Really, seems like a really cool dude.
It's I like that. It's like Hot Ones, but not satanic. It's pretty cool. Prince of Persia, that series, except for 2, but 1, 2, and 3, except for 2, so good. Probably one of my favorites of all time. The Warriors, also a good video game.
Wasn't it kind of like a GTA ripoff?
It was a GTA. I think it was made by Rockstar.
Huh.
I'm
Bully
pretty
wasn't
sure.
Bully on PlayStation 2 or is that 360?
Bully was on PlayStation 2. I tried to play Bully again, and I forgot that he falls asleep. Like, there's like a time lock. You have to be back in bed at a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what system is this? Like, this is insanely dumb.
It was a Rockstar game. Gosh, those graphics.
The Warriors?
Yeah.
Warriors. God of War 2, of course. Jack and Dexter, Beautiful Joe. And then the only one I didn't share was but you guys already did share. It's the Lord of the Rings Return of the King. That
So
one's
good.
so
And
good.
the Two Towers was also good.
2 Towers was
heard.
solid. I preferred
yeah.
Return of the King, but I enjoyed 2 Towers as well.
Yeah, I think it was just Two Towers, but better. It's like that type of thing. More characters,
Pretty
more
much,
things. But what was it the second one where it was like super hard to beat by yourself? I think that might have been Two Towers.
2 Towers was way harder to beat. I do remember that.
Yeah, it's probably that one. How about you, Mike? You got any more games?
Let's see. The Tony Hawk games, Underground, shooters. I don't think so. I was pretty mainstream about it. But I will say I do have one more story. I don't remember what they did that pissed me off, but my parents did something that really pissed me off. And so I was like, you know what? It's my PS2. So I just hid the PS2 in the attic for like a week.
You showed them.
Yeah.
You
Well,
hid-
I knew they wanted to watch something on DVD, and I don't have a DVD player, so
Did they convince you to find it, or
no, I just wanted to play PS2.
did they bring it up?
No, they just let me be a little dickhead.
You know what? And that's what more parents need to do. Parents need to let their kids just be little heads.
Did you guys ever play Silent Hill? That's one of those games. I don't like horror,
I
but like
wish.
it always looked interesting.
I've heard
I'm
Silent
good
Hill
on that.
2 is like one of the best.
I can't do those fixed cameras.
I think you might. I could be wrong. I don't know much about Silent Hill, but I think you might be thinking of the first Resident Evil.
Oh, I knew that Resident Evil had fixed cameras. Silent Hill doesn't either. Silent Hill.
I guess I've never played it, but I always just assumed it didn't. But there's no good reason
might
for
have
that.
might have a fixed camera.
Yeah, I'm talking out of my my ass right now, so
Wait.
forget what I said.
Oh, you can say that. You just can't say the whole part.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm
You
learning.
can say ass, but not the whole thing.
Yeah.
Not the whole thing.
That was with the W. All right. Okay. Calm down. W hole.
Calm down, American Ratings Board. Man, I just saw a game, and then I scrolled past it that I thought was amazing, but I guess it's not been that amazing if I can't even remember it. Jeez Louise. All right.
Never heard of that game.
You haven't? It was a top seller.
That was a top. Jeez Louise. Chess Master. Is
Nope.
that it?
It definitely was not. Oh, Splinter Cell blew me away.
I
As
played some Splinter Cell. That one was fun.
Never played any of them.
Those are good. All right. Well, since I can't remember, Lou, what are we talking about next week?
Ooh. Next week we're going to talk about top 5 strongest animals you think you could beat in a fight.
Oh.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, I don't think PETA's listening to this podcast, but
They
yes.
might. This is how we get on their radar.
I look, man. I'm not saying this is a great idea, but if we can piss off like the vegan teacher enough, we'd get views.
There we go.
Get PETA to come for us. You know, no press is bad press.
You know, I disagree.
Just that's Bill Cosby.
Whoa. Well, I think most of his press was before the diddling, but okay.
Oh,
you know,
dude.
he did have a whole show and everything.
The Lego Star Wars games, fantastic.
Eh.
What?
I'm leaning towards Lou on this one.
Oh my
Yeah, maybe if you have a
gosh.
disability, but
Does dyslexia count?
Oh, by the way, I would like to thank the rest of the disabled community for their the wonderful reaching out to say how much they agreed with me about differently abled being a stupid term. Much obliged.
Did people actually reach out to you for that?
Some. Not representative of the whole community, but definitely not zero.
Also, thank you to all the people that comment, especially if it's multiple comments, because that helps. I know one of our videos had more comments than views, and I love that. Keep on doing it. Obviously, I don't just put like random words. I like the content, and I'll do my best to reply. And I don't know if these guys look at them, but I do my best to reply. So if you guys do that, I love to hear from you guys. Love to hear what you say. But go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know what your favorite PlayStation 2 game is and what remakes they should do.
Or even just ports.
Yeah, or
Like,
ports.
I've been loving the Time Splitters 2 port. Just bring more of that stuff over and let me play it as was.
yeah, just don't upcharge me for a port.
It's true. No $70 ports here.
Yeah, ridiculous. Makes my voice crack. I'm so angry. Ooh, Def Jam fight.
What?
Def Jam fight for New York.
You
So
ever
good.
play the 50 Cent game?
No, but I
Heard it wasn't bad.
okay.
What's
A lot of swag of a black teen.
What about Parappa the Rappa?
Or I
think that's
heard good
PS1.
things. Oh, is it PS1?
I don't know. It's PS1 or PS2, but
We need an outro this so
yeah,
bad.
I was gonna say. Before we just start, keep on rambling off random games. We'd like to thank you all for listening to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, once again, leave a comment, give us a like, go ahead and subscribe for listening to our latest stuff. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review. Leave a comment down there. I know we have a small, bustling comment section growing from at least 3 people, so that's pretty big for us. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll figure out what animals Luke can take in a fight next week. Peace out.
I'm definitely fighting a bear. Just to let you guys know that.
Loss. Slop.
Dead.
Nope. I got it.
Like a teddy bear.
It's in the bag, baby. No, I just dress up my dog in a bear suit.
Just-